Hello and welcome to Only Connect, the quiz show recently described as the finest programme on British television. I'm not sure by whom, since it was anonymous and on the internet, but then any opinion worth listening to nowadays usually is. The show's also been described by some commentators as strangely free from applause and laughter. Ha 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 ha. Happy now? I know I'm not. This is a quarter-final, so we've got some returning teams, starting with, on my right, Andrew Lyman, a chemistry graduate and rugby league fan who now works as a shift manager in a chemical plant. Jane Tether, a Cambridge graduate and crossword obsessive who now works as an information design consultant. And their captain, Dave Tilley, a Liverpool supporter who assesses football referees and enjoys playing bridge. They all enjoy the listener crossword, they aren't the listeners. Dave, you beat the Steel City Singers in your heat. How have you been preparing for the quarter-final?
Well, after the group therapy we had to go into, because we were surprised at winning, we spent a lot of time tackling more crosswords, surprisingly.
Well, you may be using those skills tonight to beat on my left. Jason Gray, an Oxford history graduate who is a dedicated supporter of Harlequins Rugby Club. Dominic Guinness, a keen chef, gardener, swimmer and triathlete, who also works as an IT development manager, and their captain, Chris Harrison, an amateur athlete with a PhD in computing who's currently training for the London Marathon. They've come ashore to join us in the quarter-finals. They are the rowers. Chris, you beat the linguists in your heat. How did that match go for your team?
Reasonably well until the wheels almost came off in the last round, but we held on to it.
Well, let's see how you managed to cling on in these quarter-finals. Later on in the show, the Connecting Wall will be going live online. So if you fancy playing along with our teams, you'll probably need some form of electronic equipment. But as long as you've got a television, you're going to love round one. This is where I just want to know, what are the connections between various clues? Rowers, you won the toss, but you're going to put the listeners in first. So, Dave, please pick an Egyptian hieroglyph.
Twisted flax, please.
Twisted flax. The music question immediately. You'll be hearing the clues. What's the connection? The first one coming in now.
Next one, please. This time, trios.
Bands known by initials, CSNY and EOP.
Go for it. Yeah. Bands known by their initials, Crosby, Stills and Nash, CN.
I'm going to stop you there because I'm afraid that's not the right answer. So I'm going to play a blast of each of the remaining two clues to the rowers for a possible bonus. Have a listen to this.
3 words, isn't it? Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Earth, Wind and And this is Peter, Paul and Mary, isn't it? Yeah. Is it bands that are 3 words? Three names?
It is bands that are referred to by 3 names. The trap you fell into there, I think, listeners, is the second one. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, but old Young not credited on that particular track. So we heard Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Earth, Wind and Fire, Peter, Paul and Mary. 3 names. So that's a bonus point to you there, rowers. You may now pick your own question.
Water, please.
OK. First clue coming up now.
Spanish prisoners. They're dilemmas. Puzzles, dilemmas. Yeah. Should we just go with that one? Yeah, let's go for it. Let's try one more. One more? Okay. One more, please. Next. Boiler room.
It's being locked in a room, isn't it? What would happen if you got locked in a room?
So the puzzles. Philosophical puzzles.
Yeah. Yeah. Being locked in one room.
Are they? They're all kind of sort of philosophical puzzles of being locked in a room, or thought experiments inside your own head. Sort of.
I'm afraid that is not the correct answer. So, time for some thought experiments in the heads of the listeners. Here are the other 2 clues.
You know the shares, aren't they? You have a
Andy.
Oh, thanks. They are methods for buying and selling shares.
I'm afraid they're not. Now, this is a quarter-final, so I'm not going to be lenient with you. A couple of them are to do with shares. What they are more generally is financial swindles. Mock auction, nothing to do with shares, of course. That's where someone has put in the crowd at an auction, a friend of the seller to make a bid. Pump and dump, that's inflating share prices, selling them off. Boiler room, I think, is also to do with shares. That's an artificial high-pressure environment against sort of gullible people. And Spanish prisoner, that's the old one there's somebody in prison in Spain or a foreign country. If you pay their bail, you get money later. You, I think, were thinking of the prisoner's dilemma.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, financial swindles. But in a way, I'm reassured that none of you knew them. What lovely people you are. For me, of course, amazingly familiar. Listeners, it's your turn to pick a question.
2 reads, please.
OK, what's the connection here? They're going to be picture clues. Here's the first one.
That's the,
Alberto Tomba.
no, it's not. It's the snowboarder who's called the...
Tony Hawk.
No, I can't remember his name. I think there's a flying
Next
cat.
one, please. Okay, next one.
No, it's definitely not going here.
Next one. Next one, please.
Bat.
Horseshoe bat. Horseshoe.
10 seconds.
Next one, please. Spitfire, Wellington, Lancaster.
Lancaster.
Dukes.
3 seconds.
Dukes.
Dukes.
Dukes of Lancaster, Wellington, Lancaster.
Bat.
Ah, the old Duke of Bat. I'm afraid you're miles away, so there's a possible bonus for the rowers.
So it's Sean.
Not a possible social gathering.
Bats, White, Turner.
No, I'm sorry, that's far too long.
No.
That first picture is a fellow called Sean White, a snowboarder more commonly known as the Flying Tomato. Next along is a painting of the Flying Dutchman, a fruit bat, otherwise known as a Flying Fox, and the B-12 bomber, Flying Fortress. Flying was the connection there. So no bonus for you rowers, but you may pick a question.
The Horned Viper, please.
OK, first clue coming up now.
Skife there, teddy bears on
Yes,
it.
there's times there. We need more.
Yeah, next, please. Veuve Clicquot. Are they...
LVMH brands.
Or they brands named... Eponymous brands named after things.
Yeah.
Veuve Clicquot.
They
might be LVMH, yeah.
Or it's the first part of LVMH. Let's get the next one.
Next, please.
Next, please.
We've got the next one. Deutsche Grammophon.
Isn't.
10 seconds.
Germany. Next, please.
3 seconds. I'm afraid you're out of time.
Sorry.
So, possible bonus again now, listeners.
They were all founded in the same year.
They were not all founded in the same year. Now, this is the kind of one that I think is easier when you look back than when you look forward. These all have yellow labels. Steiff teddy bears have the little yellow label. Deutsche Grammophon, of course, in the middle there. Boddington's Veuve Clicquot drinks with yellow labels. You see, it's all very well sighing and kicking yourselves now. What about the points? Points. Listeners, can you get some on the next go?
We'll try. With the Eye of Horus, please.
OK, Eye of Horus winking at you any second now.
Assassins. No, second president. Second president.
Next one. Yeah.
Next one, please. Impeachment.
I don't think anyone was impeached, were they?
Impeachment.
I'm not good on history.
Next one, please.
Oh dear.
Are the old roles played by Anthony
10
Hopkins?
seconds.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, sure.
The roles played by Anthony Hopkins.
Coming in after 3 clues, you get 2 points. The last one would have been C.S. Lewis. They were played by Sir Anthony Hopkins in the films Amistad, Nixon, The Road to Wellville and Shadowlands. So well done. You're off the blocks at last, with only 1 question remaining for the rowers. It's Lion. First clue coming up now.
Sell baby shoes, never worn. Possibly, I don't know.
This doesn't make
Next, please. It's Dr. Seuss, isn't it? But
Yeah.
it's not going to be there, but that's not going to be the link, is it?
Let's get the next one.
Next, please. Are you Dave Gordon? There's questions asked.
They are. I think it's,
Well, it's books, isn't it? But
10 seconds.
next, please.
that's
comedian.
That's Tony Hawk.
Yeah, there's books by comedians.
3 seconds.
Books by comedians.
Very much not. So it's over to you, listeners, for a possible bonus.
I'll let Jane take it.
Is it questions, terms typed into Google? don't yield. Like Google Wax.
Oh, I know what you're thinking of. You're thinking of Dave Gorman's
Yeah.
Google Whack Adventure.
Yeah.
That was his next book. No, it's nothing to do with that. These are all things that were written as the result of a bet. There are some comedians involved. Tony Hawk's took a bet that he couldn't travel around Ireland with a fridge. Dave Gorman was bet by his friend Danny Wallace he couldn't find 54 people called Dave Gorman. Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. You're meant to pronounce it Seuss, but nobody does. That was a bet that he couldn't use only 50 words throughout a book. The first one, very much not a comedian, I would say. Ernest Hemingway was bet that he could not write a short story in 6 words only. And that beautiful story is the result. For sale, baby shoes, never worn. Right, that is the end of round 1, and our teams have struggled a bit. The rowers have got 1 point, but the listeners are ahead with 2. It's not going to get easier in the next round, because here the teams have to work out the connections and then tell me what comes forth in a sequence. Listeners, your turn to go first again. Which hieroglyph would you like?
The 2 reads, please.
OK, what is forth in this sequence? First one coming up now.
12:15. Yeah.
12:15. Next one, please. 14:15. All ended in yes and 15.
So 12:15, 14:15, 16:15. What happened in 18:15?
18:15 was that Battle of Austerlitz or
Waterloo.
Waterloo?
Don't do
Waterloo
dates.
Something happened in 18:15.
Yeah, we don't need to give another clue. We just need things with that.
10 seconds.
1812, so think of just something that follows on from that. Just make a guess.
Duke of Wellington died.
Waterloo.
3 seconds.
Waterloo, Battle of.
Good decision. I think you know there are things that happened in 12:15, 14:15. In 16:15 would have been the next clue. Volume 2 of Don Quixote was published. And in 18:15, yes, that's what happened, the Battle of Waterloo. OK, so you got the points there. Well done. Back to you, rowers, to pick a question.
Lion, please.
OK, first in a sequence coming up. What's forth? Time starts now.
McKinley it's in the highest point on that continent.
Yeah.
But it's... Where are we? Yeah, what's the
sequence?
sequence? Next, please. Vincent Medseef, that's
That's
also the highest point, isn't it? Because that's in Antarctica.
So they're going to be the 4 highest points.
4 highest
leading
points
up.
in leading up, so
it'll be Everest.
Well, will it be Everest next?
No, Everest last.
Or will Everest come last?
Should be K2.
Well, no, yeah, but it's not, I don't think they're necessarily... Do you want to go next?
10
What's the
seconds.
second biggest?
K2 is second, isn't it? Next.
K2's not on the same continent. So I can't.
3 seconds.
Everest.
I'm afraid that is not the right answer. So, possible bonus opportunity for the listeners.
And Andy, please.
Kilimanjaro.
That is the right answer. Do you know the reason?
They are respectively the highest points in the various continents, going from the lowest to the less low, higher.
That's
south.
broadly right. If it were just biggest ones, that wouldn't be the right sequence. They are the highest mountains on their respective continents, going from west to east. So Mount McKinley for North America, then going to Antarctica, South America, and Mount Kilimanjaro, highest in Africa. Well done for the bonus. And your turn now, listeners.
The Eye of Horus, please.
OK, first in a sequence coming up. What's forth? Time starts now.
Letters, epistles. It's got to be going up.
I don't know which. I don't know what order they come in next.
Books, it'll be books of the New Testament.
By third, then.
But it was Corinthians.
Yeah,
Epistles.
letters in third.
Yeah,
Next one, please.
So the book's going backwards. Third epistle of the Corinthians, second epistle, first epistle of the Corinthians, then the one before that, is that Romans or is it Acts?
Romans.
Is it Acts?
Or was it Acts?
Corinthians,
10 seconds.
Acts of the Apostles.
Acts and Romans.
Is it Acts and Romans? In which case it's...
Romans. First, Romans.
I'm afraid not. I'm going to show the third in the sequence to the rowers.
Is it Olympic?
Ionic and Doric.
Yeah, but is it Corinthian? Is it like the
That's
Olympic
enough
Games?
chat. Do you have an answer?
Doric.
You're right, it is Doric. That came from nowhere. Yes, this has nothing to do with the Bible. This is architectural styles of the Colosseum. And the clue, third, second, it's going downwards. So down from first, if it were a lift, it would be ground, or bottom would be Doric. Did you just guess that from nowhere?
I was being advised from my left.
Well, it was good advice. You should ask him about your love life. Very well done. You get the bonus. You may now pick your own question.
Twisted flax, please.
OK, first in a sequence coming up, I can tell you these are going to be picture clues. What might you expect to see in the fourth picture? First one coming up now.
Safari?
Safari.
Sorry. And next. Fender? Safari suit? Bumper? Fender?
Is it the roll cage? Is it going to be 4 parts? Chassis
next.
or something?
Fox.
It's not
Or
fox.
raccoon.
That's a raccoon.
Or a red badger raccoon. Fender, raccoon. Safari.
10 seconds.
Is it Safari Chrome Firefox? Internet Explorer.
I'm going to give it to you. I'd have liked to hear... I'd expect to see a picture of an explorer, perhaps a man with a nice hat and a magnifying glass. They are the four main internet browsers
In
with
order of
increasing
popularity.
order of popularity: Safari, Chrome, Firefox and Internet Explorer. Well done. Back to you now, listeners.
Horned viper, please.
OK, what's this sequence and what comes fourth? First one coming up now.
Next one, please.
Right.
Carry on. Is it nothing grinding of wheat?
Don't think so. It's giving up on things.
Next one, please. Dog-like.
Mm.
10 seconds.
Can't see anything there at all.
No, not me.
3 seconds.
Cat-like.
That is not the correct answer. So there's a bonus chance for you rowers.
Before dog-like.
And what do you think the sequence is?
We'd like you to answer that for us.
You might have been able to work it out from the moment when you said dog-like is canine. That's right. Another way to express millstone would be molar. That would mean before millstone, pre-molar. And continuing along the mouth, incisor, translated as cutter. They are the meanings for the words describing human teeth. So no points there. Rowers, what can you do with the last question? It's water. That should suit you. And the first clue is coming up now.
This could be anything. Next, please.
Brain. It's not that. Let's get the
Let's
next
get
one.
next, please.
Is it going to be to do with... Could it be hearts and clubs suits? Is that the name of it?
Home brain, heart club.
No.
Home.
Oh, dear.
10 seconds.
Is it something in the words? Brain. It's the
3 seconds.
family.
I'm afraid not. Possible bonus, listeners.
Time.
Time, eh? I'm surprised you haven't got this one. I think even I'd have got this one. These are things sought by the characters in The Wizard of Oz, in the order they come up in the story. Dorothy simply wants to go home, the Scarecrow wants a brain, the Tin Man wants a heart, next one along, the Cowardly Lion wants courage. So no points there. Looking at the scores then, at the end of round 2, the rowers have improved to 4 points, but the listeners are ahead with 6. Round 3 is the connecting wall, and this wall will be going live on the internet if you fancy playing at the same time. Rowers, your turn to go first. Please choose lion or water.
Water, please.
OK, 16 clues, 2.5 minutes to sort them out. Starting now.
So,
Poached, you
Nudist
devil
beaches,
eggs, you poach eggs.
Yeah. Boot camp, nudist camp, fat camp,
Coddle eggs.
summer camp. Oh, okay, so you coddle eggs,
Coddle eggs, poach eggs.
poach eggs,
Devil eggs.
devil's eggs, and...
Do you blanch
Blanch.
them? I don't think so.
Okay, knee kicker is one of the, that's what you, when you're laying, isn't that when you're laying carpet?
Yeah, that's a tool for
Okay, so
but,
pontil, what's pontil? Sous vide. Isn't sous vide, that's carpeting, isn't it?
No, that's a
Sous vide is,
the camp underneath the
unseen.
floor, isn't it?
Oh, okay, so there's terms in flooring, I suppose. Joint.
Jointed as possible.
Phoenix Signs.
I've no idea what Phoenix Signs is. Okay, so camp. I think it's camp. So you got prison camp.
Boot camp. News camp. Summer camp.
No.
Fat camp.
You've used a minute.
Boot. No. Hey, there we go.
well done.
Right, so
Okay,
there's eggs then. So we've got poach, coddle,
I think devil has got to be one.
devil's got possibly devil, and then hawk's egg. What's pontil? I don't.
We could try it.
No idea.
It's unlikely, but
So Fennec Symes, that's going to be a hero of some description, isn't it? But boots.
I think hawk could be a tool.
Hawk is to...
Yeah. So hawk tool, and then.
You've got a minute left.
No, okay. So poached eggs, lost eggs. No, I think we tried that last time. So these are definitely in flooring.
A last is something you use, isn't it?
It's cobbler's last, yeah.
Cobbler's last and. No.
A boot is cobbling, Fennec.
If we...
Sorry, boot. And then.
You've got 30 seconds.
We're struggling here.
We are indeed. And we're also running out of. There's another one going in here as well. There's eggs still.
We tried Blanche too.
No.
Only about 10 seconds now.
Oh dear. Hey, very good, very good. All right, we're
No, that's it. You're out of time. The wall's frozen.
So eggs.
OK, well,
Agnes,
you got
indeed.
2 groups.
Yep.
That's 2 points. Let's see if you can get the connections. Prison, summer, fat, nudist.
camps.
They're simply camps, that's right. Devil, sous vide, poach, coddle.
Ways of cooking eggs.
Cooking eggs.
I'm going to give it
eggs.
to you, although sous vide would be a nasty way of cooking eggs. They're just methods of cookery, but you get the point. You can also get points for the connections between the groups you didn't find, so let's resolve the wall. OK, what about this group? Fennec Symes, last, boot, Blanche.
Students making shoes.
Or is that the last one?
No, those last ones we thought was...
I've got to tell you, you're miles away.
yeah.
No.
They're characters in the novels of Evelyn Waugh. Fennec Symes in Vile Bodies, Tony and Brenda Last in A Handful of Dust, William Boot in Scoop, and old Anthony Blanche in Brideshead Revisited. And the last one, Pontil, Hawk, Knee Kicker, Jointer.
So you think there's carpet laying?
Don't know.
Is it carpet laying? Or tools in carpet laying, flooring, so on?
I'm just not going to be able to accept that. You know, I was lenient with the eggs, but they just aren't all used by a carpet fitter. A knee kicker is used when laying carpets, but they're just generally professional tools. The pontil is used by a glassmaker, hawk used by a plasterer, and a jointer, something used by a stonemason. But you did get 2 points for the groups you found, plus 2 more connection points. That's 4. So it's time we brought back the listeners to see what they can do with the connecting wall. Another difficult quarter-final wall, 16 new clues. But, of course, you want to solve it in the same way you did in your heat. Right, you're going to get the lion wall. You've got 2.5 minutes, starting now.
Shanghai Express was a Madonna film.
Cemeteries.
Cemeteries, Highgate, Bunhill Field, Père Lachaise, Arlington. No. Bunhill Field, La Recoleta.
Okay, so leave that one, do that one.
Or perhaps Highgate is... no. Oval Bank. Highgate.
Highgate.
Tube stations, yes.
French Connection is a perfume. Desire is a perfume.
Kismet.
Monsoon. Monsoon's a clothes label. Clothes
Yeah.
labels.
Jigsaw.
French Connection. And Oasis is a close shop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, 3 now. Cemeteries.
Cemeteries.
So let's just think about this now.
It's got to be those 4. That one.
Bunhill Fields.
Père Lachaise,
Père Lachaise. Arlington. So what's Desire?
Kismet, Morocco, and Shanghai Express.
Roads too, no.
Morocco, it was a Madonna film. Kismet is a musical set in...
Desires.
Desire's a Bob Dylan LP.
And a potato. That's
potato.
Zero.
No, that's
Yeah, Zero. It's obviously those 3, but somewhere in those... Then we've
Well,
got
no, it's Bunhill Fields, Père Lachaise and Arlington.
So should we try those 4 and see what we get?
Go on.
Let's see what you get. You get a solved wall. So that's 4 points immediately. Let's look for connections. Oval, bank, Highgate, Angel.
Single name tube stations.
Do you want to be any more specific?
On the Northern Line.
They are. I'd have taken tube stations, but they are all on the Northern Line. Oasis, French Connection, Jigsaw, Monsoon.
Clothing labels or shops.
I'll take it. They're not so much labels, they're not designer labels, they're high street clothing chains. I'll take that. Desire, Kismet, Morocco, Shanghai Express.
Are they films that have won Razzies? Films that won Razzies?
I can't give you any more time.
Films that have won Razzies?
No, they are films starring Marlene Dietrich.
Oh, of course, yes.
That's what they are. Bunhill Fields, La Recoleta, Père Lachaise, Arlington.
Cemeteries.
They are famous cemeteries. Père Lachaise in Paris, of course, La Recoleta in Buenos Aires, Bunhill Fields in Islington, Arlington, the military cemetery in Washington. So you got 4 points for finding those groups and 3 more points for the connections. That's a total of 7. Let's see what that does to the scores going into round 4. The rowers have got 8 points, but the listeners are ahead with 13. So, time for the missing vowels round. Fingers on buzzers. I'm going to want to know what the disguised names, phrases or sayings are. The first group are all geological processes. Listeners.
Erosion.
Correct. Rowers.
Continental drift.
Correct. Too long here. Diagenesis. Next clue. Listeners?
Lithification.
Yes, it is. Next category. They married royalty. Rowers?
Marie Antoinette.
Correct. Listeners?
Nefertiti.
Yes, it is. A more obscure one, Lisa Hallaby, who became Queen Noor of Jordan. Next clue. Rowers?
Wallace Simpson.
Yes, she did. Next category, the song title isn't in its lyrics. Listeners?
The Ballad of John and Yoko.
Yes. Rowers?
Viva la vida.
Yes, by Coldplay. Listeners?
Fluorescent
I'm afraid you lose a point. Possible bonus, rowers.
Fluorescent adolescent.
Yes, by Arctic Monkeys. Next clue. No time for Smells Like Teen Spirit because it smells like the end of the quiz, looking at the final scores. The rowers have improved to a very impressive 13 points, but it's not enough because the winners with 16 points are the listeners. Well done, listeners. You are through to the semi-finals. Rowers, I'm afraid it's goodbye to you. Thank you very much for playing. Join me next time when I'll be armed with more connections, more questions, more clues, and, of course, the attaché case full of high-performance weaponry that I keep under my desk. But you don't need to know about that. It's between me and my conscience. Goodbye.
And there's more Only Connect at the same time next week. Tracing our history through the skeleton in Origins of Us on BBC Two now. Find out how to kickstart your career over on BBC Three in Up for Hire now. And here on BBC Four, our brand new series on the fragile history of ceramics continues next.